Hey again, guys. This is Miss Jimerson, 4th grade math teacher at Cypress Point University Elementary. I'm here again today with another fantastic lesson. Today we are doing comparing large numbers. So let's get started. All right, our objective today is to compare multi-digit numbers using the greater than, less than, and equal to signs. Now, before we get started, let's think about what does it mean to compare something. So if we're going to compare two things, we're trying to see how they are different or what is different about them. Now, when we're comparing numbers, we want to see which one is the largest number. So in this lesson, we're going to be looking for the biggest or the largest number. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, I just had this also that I included in our lesson today. It's the greater than alligator, the less than alligator, and of course the equal sign. And everybody always associates the greater than and less than with the alligator mouth, or the alligator, chomping the big number. I think is how the kids in the younger grades learn that. But we always need to remember that the greater than sign is going to point this way. The less than sign points this way. And of course, if the numbers are equal or the same, it's just an equal sign. All right, one more thing to review real quick is our place value names. So if we're going to start with place value, the smallest place value is the ones place. Then we move to the tens, the hundreds, then we move into the thousands, 10,000s, and 100,000s. Now in 4th grade, we don't really go any higher than the 100,000s, so we'll just stop at the 100,000s for place value. So let's go ahead and look at some examples. All right, so let's look at these two numbers that I have on the board. I've got 245 compared to 340. Now, if I'm going to compare numbers, I need to look at this first digit in each number. And I see that in my first number, I have 2 hundreds. And in my second number, I have 3 hundreds. So let's think about that. I'm comparing 2 hundreds to 3 hundreds. And just in your brain, you already know that the 300s is larger. So we don't have to go any further in this comparison or any further in these numbers, and we know that the 3 is going to be bigger. So our alligator mouth or our less than sign is going to go in that box because we're saying 245 is less than 340. Let's clear that. Okay, let's do some more. On the top, I've got 1,256 compared to 1,789. So again, let's look at those first place values. I see that I have a 1 in the thousands place in my first number, and also a 1 in the thousands place in my second number. Those are the same, but that doesn't automatically mean that they are equal. We're going to have to keep going to the next place value to see which one is actually a bigger number. So let's look at the second place value. I have 2 hundreds compared to 700s. Now, those are definitely not the same. So I'm comparing 2 on the left-hand side to 7 on the right-hand side. And just knowing what I know about numbers, I know that that 700s is going to be larger than the 200s. So I would again, that one's also going to be less than. So let's read that number sentence. 1,256 is less than 1,789. All right, let's look at our next example on the bottom of the screen. These two numbers are 12,450 compared to 10,755. So let's look at those first place values, guys. I've got 1 in the 10,000s compared to another 1 in the 10,000s. So we don't have any way to know which one of those numbers is larger because they're both 1 in the 10,000s place. So let's go to that second place value. Next, I have 2,000s compared to 0,000s. So I should definitely know that that 0 is not going to be larger than that 2. So this time, we're going to put a greater than symbol in that box. So let's read this number sentence. 12,450 is greater than 10,755. All right, let's do some big numbers this time. Got to really put your thinking cap on because we're really going to have to think about these. All right, on the top, I have 987,897 compared to 987,898. Let's look at those first place values. I have 900,000s also compared to 900,000s. So I have to keep going. Next, I have 8 10,000s also compared to 8 10,000s. Still not sure which number is big enough, so I'm going to have to keep going to the next one. Let's move to the thousands place. Then I have 7,000s compared to 7,000s. Still don't know. Let's go down to the hundreds place. Let's see. Next, I have 800s compared to 800s. Nope, still don't know yet because we still had the same numbers up until now. So let's go down to the tens place. I have 9 10s compared to 9 10s. Oh man. So definitely the one thing that's going to tell me which one's bigger is going to be that ones place. So let's look at the ones. I have 7 ones compared to 8 ones. Now I know that 7 and 8 are different numbers. So which one of those out of 7 and 8, which one of those is bigger? That's right. The 8 is definitely larger. So this time we're going to say 987,897 is less than 987,898. All right, let's look at the next one on the bottom. Also, again, this is in 100,000, so this is a big number. I have 124,450 compared to 124,450. Look at those two numbers. Do you see anything special about those two numbers, or do you notice anything special about those two numbers? I'm going to give you just a second to think about it. That's right. They are exactly the same, but let's just be sure. I've got 124,450 compared to 124,450. The digits all match up in all the place values, so these two numbers are exactly the same. So in the middle, those two are equal. Ooh, let's try some more. Now this time, we've been working in standard form where they're just in the digits or the numbers, right? Let's look at some that are in word form. Remember, word form just spells out the number that we're trying to say. All right, so the first one, we have 1,065 compared to 1,006. So in my brain, the easiest thing for me to think is right below these words, I'm going to write those numbers just so I can see those standard form of numbers. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to see the numbers. So the first one, 1,065. So I know there should be a 1 in the thousands place. Whoops. I don't think there should be anything in the hundreds place. I don't see anything about hundreds here. So I'm just going to put a 0 there. And then I've got 65. So that's 6 10s and 5 1s. All right. Let's look at this other one. This other one is 1,006. Again, I hear that 1 in the thousands place. Don't hear anything in the hundreds place. I don't really read that there's anything in the tens place either. But there's only 6 1s. So let's look at these two numbers. 1,065 compared to 1,006. Now those thousands place are the same. Right there, those 1,000s. The 0 are also the same. So I'm going to have to keep going down. Then I've got 600s compared to 0. And right there, I can stop. I know that the 600s is going to be greater than the 000. So this time, it's going to be greater than. All right, let's do one more that's in word form. And again, we're going to read the number and we're going to put the number below it in standard form. And then we'll compare those two numbers. So the first one is 250. So let me scoot here. So that would be 250, compared to 205. So that's going to be 205. Now, there's the same digits in these two numbers. However, they're not the same numbers. I'm comparing 200s to 200s, 5 tens, but this is only 0 tenths. So we can stop there. I can see that that 5 tens is definitely larger or bigger than those 0 tens. So this one is also going to be greater than. All right, let's keep going. Now this one is kind of tricky, okay? I've got our place value chart from the ones up to the 100,000s. And if you notice, I put a black line in between all of these place value discs. So we have one number on the top compared to one number on the bottom. And we also need to write down these digits so that we can see which number is going to be larger. So let's just start in the ones place and let's write these digits down. So on the top, I can see there's 1 on the top. There's also 1 on the bottom. Okay, let's keep going. Then I've got 2 tens on the top, and I also have 2 tens on the bottom. Let's keep going. I don't have any place value discs here, so this means there are 0 hundreds in that top number. Let's look at the bottom. This bottom number does have 1 in the hundreds place. Okay, let's move to those thousands. The top number has 3 thousands, and the bottom number has 3 thousands. Okay, let's do those last two place values. The next one, the top number has 2 10,000s, and the bottom also has 2 10,000s. And then in the 100,000s, each of those has 1. So let's look at those two numbers. I'm going to step back and give you just a second to look at those two numbers. Just get it in your brain which one you think is the biggest number or the largest number. And then let's read them. So the top number is 123,021. The bottom number is 123,121. So just look at it just for a second. Where do you see the difference in those two numbers? Or where do you see that they are different? Exactly right. I see that they're different in this hundreds place. I see that 100 is larger or greater than 0 hundreds. So actually our 123,121 would be greater than 123,021. Good job on that one, guys. All right, so we've come to the end of this lesson, but let's review a couple of important things first before we end our lesson. So I just have some tips up here. The first thing, always look at the values of the first digit. So we always want to look at those first place values just to see what each of those is worth. We always want to start with that first place value or the largest place value. But then we also have to look at each digit in the number before you mark your answer. For example, if I see 2,000s compared to 2,000s, those are the same, so I have to keep going to the next place value. Then I would go down to the hundreds, the tens, and the ones. You just have to keep looking at those place values until you find something that is different. So make sure that you look at each digit. All right, you guys, you did a fantastic job today. I hope that you are staying safe. I hope you're staying home and you are healthy, and I will see you again next time. Bye, guys.